And our Croeso webinar. Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar. It's the second ColegauCymru Welsh Baccalaureate webinar, and this time we are being hosted by Cardiff and the Vale College. If you could just indicate in the chat pane that you can hear me loud and clear, and we'll start our webinar. So these webinars are part of the Skills Post-16 ColegauCymru project, supporting those in post-16 education in Wales, delivering the new GCSE Essential Skills and Welsh Baccalaureate qualifications. And the project's in its third and final year and is funded by Qualifications Wales. As always, and as Anne has said during the introduction, we would like you to get involved throughout the webinar by using the chat pane. If you've got any examples of practice in the Enterprise and Employability Challenge that you are willing to share with us, please give us those in the chat pane, and also please ask any questions. If we have time at the end, we will come back to the questions and we will try and answer if you have questions for Julianne as a deliverer of the Enterprise and Employability Challenge, or you have questions for WJEC and we can pass those on. Today, as Anne said, we have with us Julianne Lowes, who is the Welsh Bac Coordinator in Cardiff and Vale College, and we have some of Julianne's students with us. We're going to welcome later on Liam Parker, Courtney Heelan, Rachel Meiklejohn, Alex Newman, and Olivia Amir, and we're looking forward to hear their experience of the Welsh Baccalaureate. Okay, so if you haven't been to visit the new campus in Cardiff and Vale College, it opened in 2015 with its 130 teaching rooms. It's home to more than 4,000 students studying over 200 different courses. So what I'd like to do, if you haven't been to visit, perhaps you want to come down and you can have a tour of the college. We've been on a couple of tours and it's well worth a visit if you haven't been. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to Julianne, and I'd just like her to set the scene of what's happening in Cardiff and Vale College. So can you just tell us a little bit about the provision here, Julianne?
Oh, hello, Karen. Thanks ever so much for inviting me to the webinar today. I hope everybody can hear me all right. If you can't, let us know. But in terms of the provision we offer here at Cardiff and Vale College with the Welsh Baccalaureate, we have delivery across all three levels. So that's the foundation, the national and the advanced, probably covering approximately 800 learners. And we have, I think, probably about 30 staff involved in delivery. So quite comprehensive.
I think it's fair to say, yes, we have a large cohort here. So we're really going to be really pleased to share your experiences, particularly with the Enterprise and Employability Challenge. So thank you for hosting us here today. So we're just going to move on initially. At the first webinar, if you were able to join us at the Global Citizenship webinar, we had Emma Vincent, the Regional Support Officer from WJEC, joining us. Unfortunately, she's unable to be with us in person today, but we're very grateful that she did record some information. So we're just going to play you a short snippet of Emma giving us an overview of the Enterprise and Employability Challenge.
Advanced level. It is expected that the assessment for this challenge may be spread over a considerable period during the two-year course. Task 1 and Task 2 may be completed in the first half of the first year of the course, with Task 3 completed towards the end of the first year of the course and early into the second year of the course, followed by Task 4. The focus is both on enterprise through the innovation venture and employability through the destination plan. It is recommended that learners complete the innovation venture in a team, although it may be completed as an individual. Foundation National Post-16. The Enterprise Challenge at National and Foundation Post-16 must be completed as a team. A team consists of 3 to 6 learners. At foundation level, the brief focuses on the development of a product or service relevant to the vocational area. At national level, the brief focuses on a small business relevant to the vocational area being studied. The controlled assessment for this challenge is a maximum of 20 hours.
Okay, so as I said, I've just put into the chat have any questions for Emma, I know she's not here with us today, but she's very willing to respond to any queries that we can collate and pass on to her. So that was just a brief overview of the Foundation, the National, that's at post 16, and the Advanced Enterprise and Employability. But now it's going to be over to you. So if you are with us today and you do deliver the Enterprise and Employability Challenge, could you use your pen tool to mark on the line how confident you are feeling about it? For some of you, it may be the first year you've delivered, and for some of you, you may be well into your second year of delivery of Enterprise and Employability. But please pick up your pen tool now and let us know. If you're very confident, you're going to be more towards the right-hand side. If you're not feeling so confident, perhaps you'd mark on the left-hand side. And I can see, as we expected, we've got a range of views. And actually, we haven't got any extremely confident or anybody lacking completely in confidence. We seem to be fairly in the middle. I think maybe we could apply some of this to our numeracy section at the end. We could have found a mean or a median. But actually, we'd also like to ask you what levels you are delivering. We just want to find out who our audience are today. So you should see on your screen now a poll has come up. You can mark more than one because perhaps you deliver at all levels, but if we could just get a bit of an idea who we've got with us here today. So actually we can see we've got quite a lot of it. In fact, all of you have got, or no, nearly all of you are delivering at the advanced level, and we've got a few people with us who are delivering foundation and national. And I realise, sorry, Back Warrior, I didn't put anything for the Key Stage 4, but we know that we've got some Key Stage 4 teachers with us today. And I can see we've got some questions which we will come back to at the end. We'll make a note of those and we'll come back to those. So thank you for that. So we've got an idea of who we are. It's mostly advanced with us today, but we've got a few, we have got a covering of all three levels. So thank you for that. Now, if you were one of those people that did put your mark towards the right-hand side and you're not feeling all that confident, have you seen the delivery handbooks? You can just see on your screen now on the left-hand side that we've got the 3 delivery handbooks. And in fact, have you seen the ones that have been published post July 2016. Now, this is, I believe, the second edition. There was an earlier edition that didn't have all the information that these new delivery handbooks have. If you could use your pen tool to make a mark to let us know if you have seen the new delivery handbooks and if you've read them, because I think they're a really good starting point. If you're not feeling very confident, open those booklets up again, download them, download the PDF, because they are a really good starting point. One new addition, I believe, in the 2016 is the controls and the timings, so that you'll be able to look at those. On the right-hand side, you'll also see that we've got the Welsh Baccalaureate newsletter. So again, mark if you've used that, but I want to draw your attention to the Twitter image. We have Welsh Back Warrior with us today, who hosts a back chat every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. So if you are a Twitter user, and you are free at 8 p.m. tonight after your dinner and you want to log on using the hashtag backchat. I think Anne will just put that in our chat pane now. Oh, it's in. I'm not looking at the chat pane. If you want to join in this evening, I know Back Warrior is looking for new people to join to share their experiences. It's another way that you can share experience with those across Wales, across sector, because we've got some Key Stage 4 and Post 16 deliverers there. We also will be giving you some information later on about the new ColegauCymru Moodle course that we will be launching at the end of March. So keep listening for information about that. But again, we're going to test your knowledge. For those that were putting that they were very confident about the Enterprise and Employability Challenge, which skills have been formally assessed in the Enterprise and Employability? We know that all 7 skills should be applied throughout all challenges, because these are the skills that some of our learners here today are going to let us know how they feel they've improved. But which ones are we formally assessing? Well, I can see some of you are getting there. Numeracy, digital literacy, yeah, creativity, and innovation and personal effectiveness. Yeah, thank you. Whoever's drawing that big circle, I completely agree. We should be looking at all skills, but the ones that they're formally assessing, we've picked up, and we will be discussing numeracy skills a little bit later. But just to give you a heads up, start thinking about how you are embedding numeracy within Enterprise and Employability, because we are going to be asking you to note that in the chat pane. So now we know the skills that we are going to be assessing. We are going to go back to Emma and another recording, and we're going to listen to Emma, first of all, telling us about the national and foundation and what evidence is required. But as she's talking, if you are able to multitask, can you please let us know in the chat pane what your learners have done at national and at foundation level, perhaps for their business proposal or perhaps for their product or service?
Foundation and national post-16 evidence. There will need to be evidence of a personal skills audit and development plan. This includes current personal and team working skills and any additional skills likely to be needed, and a plan for developing and improving these skills. At foundation level, learners will be required to produce a CV, showcasing their relevant skills, qualifications and experiences. And at national level, this will take the form of a supporting letter showcasing relevant skills, qualifications and experience in order to apply for a role in a team. They will need to produce a visual display of the business proposal, which could include evidence of the viability of the small business, the aims and objectives, potential customers, premises, equipment, resources, financial implications. At foundation level, these including costs of producing the product. At national level, this includes staffing costs and marketing and promotional materials using digital technology. Minutes of meetings should be included, and they should be sufficiently detailed to demonstrate individual roles and the management of their responsibilities, team collaboration and task management. A confirmation statement of the pitch must be recorded, stating the standard of the presentation skills demonstrated. Learners must also include any supporting evidence such as a PowerPoint presentation, speaker notes.
There we are. So it's you can see it says on the screen as well, exemplars can be found on the secure website. So if you are for evidence, you can look on the secure website. So thank you, Rebecca. You put in the advanced level, learners are mainly using the generic brief about utilising college space. Anybody else out there? Don't be shy. Let us know what your learners are doing. Just to give you a starter for 10, I know that there is currently a case study being written for some learners in Gower College, Swansea, and that was a group of national students working towards the National Post-16 Welsh Baccalaureate, and they were developing an app. Initially, they were studying the Level 2 Diploma in Plumbing and Heating. Initially, they wanted to design an app to help with exam revision. However, they did realise that there's already quite a lot of apps in that market. So they instead started to design an app called Find My Plumber, so that a customer could download the app, and if they needed a plumber, they could find one via the app. And actually, the work that they've done in this has involved them having a grant of £500 to actually develop that app. So look out for the newsletter so you can see some of that being discussed on the Welsh Back newsletter. So we can see that we've got Libby in ColegauCymru. They use your pop-up shop. So if you want any information about how Libby's used that, please let us know, and we can find out more from Libby. And Sue has said you've looked at mobile app as well in public services, and I think that's ColegauCymru as well. And I can see that Rebecca is also typing. Keep typing your ideas. Fashion, do makeup and mend, pop-up. Also, the pop-up shops are seeming very popular, but keep your ideas coming. And we're just going to play the next recording from Emma looking at the advanced evidence. But please keep your ideas coming.
Advanced evidence. When learners carry out the controlled assessment, they will need to produce electronic evidence in the form of a destination passport. Each learner must provide a digital destination passport. The supporting evidence in the destination passport must include a skills audit, an innovation proposal, presentation, destination plan, and a personal reflection. The pen portrait is an informal description of the learner and must include evidence of the identification of current skills, competencies, attributes and experiences relevant to the enterprise and employability challenge. The innovation proposal and presentation should be a report which includes an executive summary, roles and responsibilities, innovation of an existing or new product or service, a feasibility study, project management schedule, design, illustrations or a prototype of the innovation, and evaluation and justification of the fitness for purpose. The proposal should be presented creatively to an appropriate panel of experts of at least 2 people. If working in a team, each team member must make a substantial contribution to the presentation. The presentation does not need to be in a form of an oral presentation. It could be in another format that is still purposeful and conveying the innovation concept or idea. Destination plan. Learners need to identify 2 potential career pathways and for each identify skills, attributes, experience and qualifications required. Make direct contact with employers.
Okay, so there was a lot of information to take
to
in there.
inquire about their
Just to let you know, we do have this as an MP4 recording. So if you would find that we've had these short recordings, if you'd find them useful to either put on your own staff Moodle site or to share with colleagues that perhaps haven't been able to join us with the webinar, please let us know and we can pass on those recordings to you. We'll also be putting them up on our own Moodle site, so you will have access to them. And I can see some heads nodding in the room, so I think that might be a popular decision to share those recordings with you. Rebecca, yes, I can see you. You're leading me straight on into my next slide when you're saying learners across all levels seem to struggle with numeracy. We are going to talk about that a little bit later in the webinar, so we definitely want you to think about ways we can overcome this, because yes, we do think this is a common thing. So, but moving on to the moderators report. Again, if you are a new tutor, or even if you're not a new tutor but you just haven't had chance in your busy day-to-day schedule to look at the moderators report, these are written by the principal moderators for each of the challenge at the levels, and they are again on the WJC website, and we're just going to ask Anne to put a link to the moderators report in the chat pane. I know she's on the case, so if you haven't had a chance to read the moderators report, please click on the link later on and do that. So I won't read out the slide, you can read that for yourself, but certainly at the foundation and advanced level, one aspect that was highlighted was the difference between foundation focusing on creating a product or service, whilst at national it's the development of a small business, and that does provide greater scope for use of numeracy. And one point we would make is if you are delivering foundation and national, please make sure that you have got your briefs approved, firstly by your Welshback coordinator, but definitely by your regional support officer, so that you know that you are working to the correct level with your learners. So Julianne, just to get a perspective from practitioner's point of view, how important do you feel the moderator's reports are to you as a deliverer? Sorry, we're just going to unmute Julianne's mic so you can all hear. I can hear her, but nobody else can hear her at the moment. So Julianne, if I could just ask you again, how important do you feel the moderator reports are?
I'm on now, yeah.
You're on live, loud and clear.
In terms of the moderator's report, of course, this qualification was new to all of us last year, and we were all a little bit in the dark. So we've been able to reflect now on moderation from last year and develop some of our learning, some of our teaching, some of our practices for this year. So yeah, sort of key tool for development, really.
Excellent, thank you. And just to say as well, it's not only at the foundation and national level that there's a moderator's report, you can look at the advanced level too. And for the advanced, we know that many centres are going to be submitting this challenge this year, particularly if you've decided to deliver over 2 academic years with tasks 1 and 2 in the first year and tasks 3 and 4 in the second year. Moderator noted that there was sometimes a lack of clarity as to which tasks some evidence belonged to, as well as a lot of additional evidence being submitted that wasn't required. And she did go on to say that it was important to know that all evidence should be viewed holistically, so that the tasks shouldn't be awarded points and then take an average, but you should have an overall score awarded for each learning outcome. So it's an holistic assessment, which means you'll need to wait until all 4 tasks are completed before you can award those marks to the learning outcomes. At the advanced level, the work has got to be submitted electronically, and this is going to be in preparation for next January, where if you've had the circular from WJEC in January 2018, the e-portfolio will be used to upload candidate work for the Enterprise and Employability Challenge. Now, I know that we've met many of you on our initial round of e-portfolio training, and we are running a pilot for the June series. Now, I know CAV Cardiff and Vale are going to be involved in the pilot, but those lecturers are involved already know, so don't panic if you're joining us today and you haven't heard that you're involved in that. But we are still looking for 1 or 2 centres to be involved in the e-portfolio pilot. So please let us know. Please send us an email if you'd like more information about that, because there are 2 parts to the pilot this year. And moving on, areas to develop, and that's coming back to Rebecca, what you were saying earlier. Yeah, one of the main areas to develop at all levels is the application of numeracy. At foundation and national, there's not always evidence of numeracy to solve a problem, and little interpretation of numerical results. And again, so I'm just going to pass over to Julianne again, because obviously this is your second year of delivering the Enterprise and Employability Challenge. So can you just let us know how have you embedded numeracy skills and allowed your learners to apply their own numeracy skills in this challenge?
Okay, so I think some of the feedback that we had last year related to perhaps not all learners having evidence of numeracy. So going forward this year, in terms of the foundation level, we've looked at the different costs in terms of setting up that product or service. So there's obviously going to be 3 or 4 different costs that need to be considered. So each team member would take one of those costs, and they would research to find a budget option, a mid-priced option, and a premium option. So they could do some kind of best by comparison for that. And then in terms of the national level, taking it a little bit further for the teams to look at to research the startup costs of their business, and then to have a go at doing some kind of cash flow forecast so that they can have an idea of how successful that business might be.
Excellent, thank you. And I think one of the important points to pick up there was when you were talking about each member of the team being individually responsible for part of the costing, because obviously if you only have one member of a team being responsible for finance, then that may not allow others to achieve their numeracy scores within the challenge. So that's a great idea to split up the responsibility for the costing. Thank you, Julianne. If I could just ask you all to use your emoticon to let us know that you are still with us. Give us a smiley face, because I am now officially going to welcome Julianne Lowes to our webinar so that we can all ask her how she is generally approaching the enterprise and employability. So thank you. We can see that half of you are still with us and are still on board. Please don't forget to use that chat pane. We really are looking for your comments, your ideas, your questions for anything to do with the Enterprise and Employability Challenge. And Rebecca, we have noted your comment and we will come back to you. So welcome officially, Julianne, to our webinar this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for hosting us here, and thank you for inviting your learners to be with us. So can you just tell us, in your experience, how do you prepare your learners for the Enterprise and Employability Challenge?
Okay, yeah, thanks. In terms of preparing them for the challenge, we start off with the end game. By that, I mean that I tend to show them some YouTube clips, like Dragon's Den clips. One of my favourites is the Reggae Sauce clip by Levi Roots, and they can actually watch him demonstrate his product, and they follow the story of his very simple beginnings, very simple product concept, and then follow him to going on to becoming a very successful businessman as well as musician. So that's kind of the starting point for it.
Thank you. And so can you tell us what are some of the successes you've had here with in Cardiff and Vale with the Enterprise and Employability Challenge?
Okay, one of the successes I think we've had is to see how the learners develop their own self-confidence and their knowledge of enterprise. I think initially they are not necessarily aware of how knowledgeable they actually are, but when they start to work as a team and break things down, that they can develop some of the skills that they already have in terms of looking at the strengths and weaknesses of some of their ideas. And very often the learners are quite complimentary about the Enterprise and Employability Challenge, and the feedback is that, you know, they really enjoy seeing a whole project like that through.
Excellent. And I know you concentrate mostly on the Foundation and the National Enterprise and Employability Challenge. Can you give us some examples of products or services, or perhaps some of the small business ideas, just so we've got an idea? We could see in the chat pane earlier on that lots of people are looking at pop-up shops and mobile apps. Have you got any other ideas that your learners have come up with?
Several ideas, really. I think Liam mentioned one of the ideas earlier, where they had an idea of creating a waterproof lilo. We've had groups that have developed the concept of a spa port. So they're going to introduce a spa into the airport. We've had learners who've developed the idea of having a crash in the airport. One of my favourites from this year is the beer bike. The beer bike is a concept that was initiated in Germany and is very popular in Prague and Hungary, I believe. And some learners wanted to bring that concept into Cardiff. But we've had lots of different things. We've got one learner who's very keen to become a blue badge tour guide. So she set up her own business and was very passionate about that, focusing on sort of cultural and historic attractions within Cardiff. We've had the girls that are with us today. They developed a concept of a party bus in and around Cardiff. And I know Rachel was intrinsic in developing an app for helping tourists in Cardiff to enjoy our sites. So yes, some of the ideas.
That's brilliant, thank you. And I have to say, when we were in rehearsal and Juliana explained the beer bike to us, we weren't quite sure what that was. So if you have any ideas, you can note them in the chat pane. We'll let you know if you're correct at the end, because we do now know what a beer bicycle is. Thank you, Julianne. So again, this is your second year of delivery. And can you tell us, is there anything that you have done differently this year to last year, or perhaps that you would do differently moving on?
One of the things that I did differently at the beginning of this year was to involve our enterprise officer, a gentleman by the name of Greg Callow. So he obviously has a little bit more experience in terms of enterprise. So he was able to come and talk to the learners initially and, sort of give it from his perspective. But another idea that I've tried this year, which has been quite popular and successful, is the idea of I start the lessons with some of the groups just talking to the acting CEOs for that week. So it's not necessarily only the CEO, they can be acting CEOs as well. And I take the CEOs out and I have a meeting with them. I'm very clear on the aims and the objectives of what their teams need to achieve that week. And I then allow the CEOs to go back into the room and they have their meetings. And you can see then how not just the CEOs, but all of the team members, they are taking on responsibility for what they need to do, developing in sort of like a real life situation. And quite often, it's almost a case of the teams are audited by their peers so that everybody is encouraged, not just by myself, but by their team members to get on and get some things done. So yeah, good strategy, I think.
Excellent. That's a really excellent idea. So thank you, Juliana. And if anybody else has got any ideas of what they would do differently or what they have done differently, please do type them in the chat pane. But we are really grateful to be sharing the experience from Cardiff and the Vale. If you could now use your emoticons, if you have found your emoticons, it's the little man with a hand up in the air in your top toolbar. And if you use the triangle as the drop down button, please could you welcome our learners to our webinar by giving them a round of applause or a smiley face. It's quite nerve-wracking to be coming to your first webinar. And I'm just going to let Julianne pass her microphone over to Liam. So welcome to Liam. Can you tell us, Liam, why did you decide to study the Welsh Baccalaureate?
The reason I decided to study Welsh Bac was as it was part of my programme of study. I also completed the foundation level of Welsh Bac last year. As I studied the foundation level, I wanted to then go on to study the national level. Another reason that I decided to study Welsh Bac is because from completing it last year, I noticed about all the skills it helped me develop. So I wanted to complete it again to then improve the skills that I had learned in the previous year. I also really enjoyed completing the Enterprise and Employability Challenge, as you get to see all of the work that goes into creating a product and a business, and wanted to complete this challenge again.
That's excellent. And I think Julianne did let us know what your business idea is this year, but in case people have forgotten, what is it that you were developing this year? Or
we were developing a product, and it was going to be a lilo with waterproof pockets, which you could put your phone or Bluetooth speaker in to keep them safe while you're in the pool. But the product was also self-inflating, so it was easier for the user to inflate it.
So that's excellent. See these creative ideas, and all we want now is a little bit of sunshine so that we can use those products. So thank you, Liam, for explaining about why you're deciding to study in the Welsh Bac. So Courtney, I'm going to introduce Courtney, and she's going to let us know what she's doing this week in her Welsh Bac.
This week we are going to be working on our individual projects. For this, I will be making a notice board for guests in the resource that we are resort reps for. On the notice board, I will include 6 panels. The first panel will include the introduction, duty times, medical assistance, and emergency contact numbers. The second panel will include restaurant times, pool, information about the pool, the indoor reception, the indoor pool, and the health club. The third panel will include times the guests go home. The fourth, fifth, and sixth panel will include information on the 3 excursions for the 3 categories that we chose. For example, I chose couples, young groups, and families. The seventh panel will include information on health and safety. This could include numbers for the nearest English-speaking hospital.
Thank you so much, Courtney. And I have to say, you have got a very busy week ahead of you, haven't you? If you're doing all of that on your individual project next week. So thank you for sharing that information with us. So we can see that just how much effort and how much work all our learners are putting in to the Welsh Bac. So I'm going to move over to Rachel and ask, what skills do you feel you've improved by studying the Welsh Baccalaureate?
Well, there are many skills involved in the Welsh Baccalaureate challenges that we all needed to use and develop. Personally, I think I improved on some literacy skills. The Enterprise and Employability Challenge especially involved a lot of writing, what with the development plans, the minutes of the meetings, and writing the PowerPoint presentation. Problem solving is a skill that I definitely improved on during the first challenge. We faced problems because we started with 5 people in the team and ended the challenge with 3. 2 of the team members had to leave, so we had to distribute the work between the 3 of us. And then one member was away for most of the time, so there's pressure on just 2 members to get most of the work completed and meet deadlines. As this problem was solved eventually, I would say I improved my problem-solving skills since studying the Welsh Baccalaureate.
Thank you ever so much, Rachel. And I think we can say we can relate to that in real life. You know, when you start off in a team and things happen and team members change, but you just have to get on with it using those problem solving skills. And that was so well articulated there, how you have and developed your problem solving skills. Thank you, Rachel. So I'm just going to ask Alex, what are you hoping to do next, Alex?
After this course, I'm hoping to go on the cabin crew course with Barry and work with either Thompson or Thomas Cook, or go into full-time work with Garda Wales. With Welsh back, I hope to gain an extra qualification.
So thank you, Alex. So Alex is hoping to complete all her tasks, and she's got career aspirations going on to work with cabin crew or to get full-time work. So good luck for your future. You might see her if you're flying off somewhere. And last but not least, we're going to ask Olivia how you feel the Welsh back will help you in the future.
With the Welsh back, I can gain extra qualifications, and that can help me get into university if I chose to go down that path. It also has helped me develop different types of skills that I didn't have before, such as when I did my enterprise and employability challenge, we had to work together as a group and discuss things, and that taught me how to work well in a team and good communication skills, which help me further my career.
Excellent. Thank you, Olivia. And in fact, thank you to Liam, to Courtney, to Rachel, Alex and Olivia, because it's not easy coming into a webinar for the first time. But I think what has come across really clearly to me, both in the rehearsal and now, is that all 5 of these young people have recognised that the skills that they have developed and have been able to tell us what skills they have developed or are developing and how they are going to use those in the future. So if you could just show your appreciation for our students here today by using your emoticons. If you've never broadcast on a webinar before, I can assure you it is a very nerve-wracking experience. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions for them, please write them in the chat pane. We're not going to put them on the spot, but we will ask them later and we'll come back to you with some answers. So thank you. And we're just going to move on for our last few minutes of this webinar. Going back again to Rebecca's comment very early on about being able to apply numeracy. So we do know that one area for development across Wales and across the levels is numeracy. We do only have 5 minutes left, so we're just going to concentrate on the advanced enterprise and employability. And actually from our poll, we can see that the majority of you are involved in the advanced enterprise and employability challenge. So if the innovation venture and proposal are being prepared as a team, it is very important that each individual candidate demonstrates their own numeracy skills. We've already had some ideas from Julianne about how she is managing that in her courses, because it might be tempting for one member of the team to take full responsibility for finance, but it shouldn't prevent others from achieving a high band. So we could, as Julianne has said, have a team meeting for finance where each member analyses costs for different aspects, for example, the marketing and the production. But has anybody else got any thoughts on other ways to allow learners to apply their numeracy? So please let us know if you feel you are doing well with applying numeracy. Please let us know in the chat pane now, because this is very much a sharing webinar and we need to share across Wales your own examples. In Task 3, candidates must consider 2 career pathways and compare the salaries. Now, on the Secure website, there is a budgeting resource, and you can actually see a small screenshot of it on your screen at the moment. And this is one resource that you can use to increase the complexity of the numeracy for your learners. So this, and it is actually mentioned in the moderator's report. It is important to make sure that there's an analysis of the data by comparing things like the locations and the salaries and other factors. And on the screen, you can also see an example of the use of a spreadsheet formulae to calculate midpoints of a set of data in order to get an estimated mean, which can be used to generate a comparison graph. Candidates should show the formulae. That was the reason of putting that screenshot in if they are doing this, just so we can see the formulae that has been put into a spreadsheet. You can also see the third image you can see on there is a cumulative frequency graph, which on this occasion has been comparing the cumulative frequency of house prices. Candidate then went on to consider the mean, median, the lower quartile, upper quartile and interquartile range. If you know anything about the new GCSE syllabus, you could also represent that data using a box and whisker diagram, which is just looking at links to other qualifications. One thing that we would say is that perhaps you might want to involve your numeracy specialists in the college, because we are looking for learners in the advanced level to achieve the higher bands. You might want to get some ideas from numeracy specialists. And there are some good examples of applying numeracy in the exemplar material. So if you have a look on the Secure website, don't forget to log in to look at the exemplar material, because there's certainly some ways of comparing personal finance costs. And I would just say on a personal note, having children that have gone to university themselves, we might see this, we know how relevant it is to our young people that they start considering their personal finances, that they can start to budget, because they will be using it in the not too distant future. So I'm just, yes, Rebecca, that is an example. They are learners that can devise their own resource, but it is there available for you to have a look at. And Karen, your teams have held team meetings and they have all had to demonstrate the contributions to costing. So that's great. So we can see how the individual learners. We will clarify, yeah, this was what's communicated at CPD events. We will clarify with Emma about the use of that spreadsheet, but I do know it is referenced in the moderator's report, but we will get back to you and we'll send out an email about the budget resource for you. We are running out of time. We have got about 2 minutes to go. So are there any questions? Yeah, Rebecca, we are definitely going to clarify that and get that back to you via email. And we will put the answer up on our Moodle resource as well, just so that people are listening to this as a recording will know exactly how you can use that resource. But are there any other questions that we have for our learners, for Julianne, or any other examples? Because you have 1 more minute to share your good practice for enterprise and employability before we need to draw this webinar to a close. I'm just going to give people... How can I access the Moodle resource? The Moodle resource will be launched at the end of March, and we will make sure that everybody that we have details for will have access to that. And just while people are typing, I'm just going to draw your attention to the regional meetings that are happening in March. So you can see on the screen now your colleges and the dates that we will be inviting you to attend. The Welsh Bac coordinators should have had an email from us inviting you on either the 14th of March, the 20th of March, the 23rd or the 24th of March. And that will be ColegauCymru and WJEC joining together with the Welsh Bac coordinators. We also, the Moodle resource that we've been talking about, it's a sharing of resources across Wales. At the moment, it is still in production and we are still very much looking for your ideas and resources. We have had resources sent from many practitioners, but in order for it to be useful to everybody, we would really ask you to send us lesson plans, schemes of work, any activities that you are willing to share, because at the end of March, 27th of March, we will be launching this Moodle course and you will have access to all the resources that we have as we prepare to finish the final phase of our CPD project. All that remains now in the last 30 seconds I have available to me is to say a huge thank you to Julianne Lowes, to Liam, to Courtney, to Rachel, to Alex and to Olivia for joining with us this afternoon, and thank you to everybody that has been listening in. If you could just show your appreciation to everybody that has been here today, and to Anne Evans as well, who has been running the technical side for us.
Okay, and can I just say thank you very, very much to Karen for all the work that she's putting on this one, and to our fantastic set of learners who are sitting around the table. They did amazingly well. It's their first webinar. To Julianne, thank you so much, and for all those in the background behind who've been helping on that. Diolch, and thank you. We look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, and we'll let you know when that will be. But thank you very much. If you want to sign out in a minute, you just click the cross in the right-hand corner of your screen at the top. But thank you so much, because these webinars, it's about the interaction from you and your good practice that we share with it from it. So thank you very much, everybody.